Let's talk to the member for Adelaide, Rachel Sanderson. Rachel, good morning. Where are we with this?
Good morning. Well, Leon, last October the government announced that they would be doing a comprehensive review of the CCTV camera usage in the Adelaide CBD, and it's nearly 10 months now, and I'd really like that review released so that we can have a look at that. I'm very concerned about the safety of people, not only in the city and Hindley Street in particular on Fridays and Saturdays, but through North Adelaide. We see in the paper quite regularly nurses that are carrying scissors in their bags because of fear walking back to their cars at night. Now that's partly because of a lack of parking, which is certainly an issue that needs to be addressed, but also with the use of cameras, they could be used proactively to sort of blitz an area. So we know that there's been 4 attacks in the last 2 years in North Adelaide, and there's lots of colleges there, there's all of the nursing staff and people that are walking around late at night, and there was an incident on Gover Street. I mean, these are areas that we should feel safe. So I think potentially that could be just one person that's causing all of the issues, that if we had camera footage in the relevant areas, even if they were wireless ones that could be put in for 6 months until the person is caught, they could then be moved on to Hindley Street or, to Adelaide or wherever there might be festivals or large numbers of people. I've been going out myself, and my office will be out later this afternoon, going along O'Connell Street and recording every store owner or retailer that has CCTV cameras that face the footpath. Because I think if there is an incident, what I would like to see happen is that we could email immediately all of the people that have cameras in that area, could be notified there's been an incident at 10:30 last night, please check your footage or keep your footage because we will need that. And that way we could catch whoever's, causing these issues very quickly. There's also camera technology available now, but even if you're using a camera in a low traffic area, it can actually notify you as soon as there's movement. So there's movement sensors that could be used through parklands where it might not be feasible to put expensive cameras, but they could be movement activated. So then if you've got someone monitoring them, as soon as there's any movement in the area, you could see what's happening and get police to the area if it looked like there was somebody in danger.
Well, you've called on the government to release this study. 10 months they said they were going to do it. That's a go last October. John Rowe's in a meeting today, but things have been very slow, and again, was not a decision made by the government that they would invest in plugging the holes in security that might exist in observing some of the hotspots. Was that not something that was promised?
Well, I believe the Adelaide City Council allocated $200,000 in the 2012-13 year, and that was towards 25 digital cameras to replace old analogue ones. So they're existing ones.
All right. Well, I can tell you that there's a guy I know, Gary from Alarm Logic, who showed me, he actually took the trouble to ring me one day and say, look, just so you know how good some of these new cameras are, let me give you a demonstration. I went and saw him, and he showed me a whole lot of cameras, and they're not all that expensive, and the detail now, I mean, for example, you can look at a car in some distance parked, but when you start amplifying the picture, modifying the picture to get more detail and bringing it in closer, the detail is phenomenally good. The focus is phenomenally good. It's not blurry like some of those old-fashioned things that they used to put up on Crime Stoppers where you just see a figure and maybe a blur. They're very good. So for me, there's no excuse why we can't do this.
Exactly, and the new digital technology is improving every day and getting cheaper as well. The most expensive part about the digital cameras is the cabling.
Yes.
So it's getting it all back to the central, the state admin building where it's all monitored.
Yeah.
But with wireless, there's also different ways that they can be linked in and attached. So it's been interesting. I've been meeting with quite a few people that install the cameras and sell the cameras, and I think it really is. The dual case certainly showed how useful cameras can be in catching a perpetrator. I would like it also to be used proactively to identify where there's an issue and get police there as soon as possible, which requires monitoring 24 hours. And I think that's, very important, particularly for the ones that are run by the council or, via state government funding.
Rachel, good on you for raising it. That's the member for Adelaide, state member for Adelaide, Rachel Sanderson. And I think she's got a point. As I said, we will request, I suspect we'll be able to get John Rao, the Attorney General, on tomorrow to talk about this. But if they're concerned about bad conduct driven by whatever reason, whether it's just some people are pests, whether they're under drugs or grog or both, whatever the reason is, we need to be on the case of observing this and doing something about it. And the government did, I remember doing the interviews about this some time ago, where, one of the reasons the state government is putting a lot more restrictions on licensees is to try and rein in this binge drinking phenomenon, which is connected, of course, to errant behaviour. Now, being drunk is not an offence. It never was. Well, maybe